So something that we're often asked about at Katie's Garden is which plants can be grown in pots. So the short answer is pretty much anything, but some are much better suited to it than others, and some of them just look a lot better as well. So one of the things that is not good to see on a label is the word vigorous, because a plant in a pot is entirely dependent on you for survival, and a vigorous plant is going to burn its way through all of the fertiliser and the water you give it, and so it's going to need an awful lot of attention. So that's normally something you want to avoid. Something that is good to see is anything that's saying it's slow growing, compact, dwarf. So we've got things like the Petersburg and Tom Thumb here, which is a lovely bit of evergreen cover, and it's not really any effort on it at all. You just put it in a pot. I said give it food, give it water, and it will reward you for years to come. Also have a classic box here, common box, which again is a nice easy plant to grow. It's nice and slow growing, so it will take a long time to get through any of the fertiliser that you give it. You can trim them however you like. You can often buy them trimmed to shape as well, conicals, spheres, things like that. Also have good old Hebes. We've got Nandina's, a very nice one as well. Other ones that are very easy to grow, the ferns, and really anything that's good for shade. They tend to be slower growing, and if it's something in shade, it's not going to need so much water, and again, much easier to look after. Another one is the grasses. Most grasses will go very happily in a pot. We've got here Calamagrostis, which does get very tall. So if you've got anything tall in a pot, you do need to think about if you've got a nice heavy pot that's not going to blow over in the first gust of wind. Herbs are another really great one to have. You can do a nice mix in a pot here. So we've got, for example, a nice quick easy job. We can put in some sort of chives and thyme tarragon there, and that will work very nicely. Alpines, another nice one. You again do a mix. If you've got succulents like the Rosulera here, in fact they're not going to need so much help from you, because normally any rain we get is sufficient. So you pretty much put them in a pot and forget about them. Bulbs, again, virtually any bulb will grow very happily in a pot. So we've got a nice selection here, especially we've got some dwarf narcissus and things like that, which again look very nice. And perennials, there's a few factors you have to think about, because a lot of perennials will grow nicely in a pot, but actually they don't look that great. So we have a helenium, which has got lovely flowers on it, but down below, a little bit sparse. So if you were going to grow in a pot, you'd probably want to do it as a collection with some other ones that could mask it, which is why we would recommend that more for being in a border than in the ground. We also have things like the lupines, which naturally would have a long tap root, and in a pot they can't really do that, and they really suffer from the watering, and they're ones that quite a lot of effort, which you think would look lovely in a pot, but it's very tricky to get the watering right, and again that's something that we would probably avoid in a pot and best in the ground. So other, of course, easy ones to do are all our patio plants. We have an awful lot to choose from throughout the year. At this time of year, lots of pansies and violas, things like that. Again, you can make lovely displays. Or if you want to keep it nice and simple, good old garden mum, straight in a pot, ready to put out.